Everybody get up.
Okay. Theorem number 7. Two lines perpendicular to the same plane are parallel. And conversely, if one of the two parallel lines is perpendicular to the plane, the other is also. On theorem 7, we must prove that this line here and that line are parallel. Now let's call this line here as line AB and that other line as line CD. And the floor will be our plane P. Now, line AB is perpendicular to plane P through point P. And line CD is perpendicular to plane P through point D. And that is by theorem number 5 that states, through a point, there is one and only one line perpendicular to a plane. And then after that, we can take BD and then we can draw line BD to make lines AB and CD perpendicular to it. And then we can now prove that AB is parallel to CD, and that is based on theorem number 34 that states, if two lines which are perpendicular to the same line are said to be parallel.
Theorem number 8. If a straight line is parallel to a given plane, it is parallel to the intersection of any plane through it with a given plane.
So, to prove that theorem 8 is true, I have here two planes. The wall, which is plane R, and the floor, which is plane J. Plane R has a line, which is line 1, and the intersection of these two planes is line 2. This line 1 and line 2 are parallel based on corollary 1, which states that if a line outside the plane is parallel to the given plane, then it is parallel to the plane. So therefore, line 1 is outside plane R, or it is not on plane R, and it is parallel to the intersection of plane R and plane J. So these two lines are parallel. Theorem number 9. If each of the two planes is perpendicular to the same line, they are parallel. And conversely, if one of the two parallel planes is perpendicular to a line, the other is also. This will be our plane M, and the floor will be our plane N. And this will be our line AB. And then, by definition, two planes which do not meet are said to be parallel. And as you can see, it's too obvious that plane M and plane N do not meet because they do not have a line of intersection.
Theorem number 10. If a plane is parallel to each of two intersecting lines, it is parallel to the plane of these lines.
To prove that theorem 10 is true, I have here two intersecting lines and a plane. These two intersecting lines is parallel to that plane because even how extended this line will be and that plane, they cannot meet and they are parallel to each other. And these two intersecting lines determine a plane because in theorem 2, a plane is determined by a line and a point not on it, two intersecting lines and two parallel lines. So these two intersecting lines can be determined as a plane. And this plane and that plane is parallel based on definition of a parallel planes, which states that two planes which cannot meet are parallel. Theorem number 11. Through a point not on a plane, there is one and only one plane parallel to this plane. Okay, the floor will be our plane M, and this pillar here will be our line AB. Now, as the definition of a line consists of infinite number of points. Now, we can put point B on this line here, and then draw line 1 and line 2, and make it perpendicular to line AB. And that is based on
number 12. Through one of the two skew lines, there is one and only one plane parallel to the other line. To prove that this theorem is true, I have here a skew line and a line. This skew line will be our line 1 and this line will be our line 2. This line, which is parallel to line 2, will be our line 3. The skew line and line 3 determine a plane based on theorem 2, which states that a plane is determined by a line or a point not on it, two intersecting lines, and two parallel lines. So these two intersecting lines, we will now call this plane R. And this line, line 2, is parallel to line 3 based on corollary. Based on corollary 1, if a line outside a plane is parallel to some line in the plane, then the first line is parallel to the plane. So this line 3 is parallel to line 2, and line 3 lies on plane R. Therefore, one and only one plane is parallel to a line outside a plane.
Theorem number 13. Through a point outside of each two non-parallel lines, there is one and only one plane parallel to both of these lines. Consider this as plane M. Now, here is a point P, and this line outside the plane is line 1. Now, here would be line 2 of the plane M. And through point P, there pass line 1 parallel to line 3, and line 4 parallel to line 2. Then the plane M of line 3 and line 4 is parallel to line 2 and line 1. And that is based on corollary 1 that if a line outside a plane is parallel to some line in the plane, then the first line is parallel to the plane.
Theorem number 14. If two intersecting lines in one plane are parallel, respectively, two intersecting lines in another plane, then the two planes are parallel, and the corresponding angles formed by the lines are equal.
Theorem number 15. If two straight lines are cut by three parallel planes, the intercepted segments on one line are proportional to the corresponding segments on the other. To prove that theorem number 15 is true, we consider that two pillars in that building as the lines A, B, and AD. And then that three colored blue pillars there as planes M, N, and O. Now, by corollary number 104, parallel planes which intercept equal segments on any transversal lines intercept equal segments in every transversal lines.
Theorem number 16. Two dihedral angles are equal if their planes angle are equal, and conversely, if two dihedral angles are equal, their plane angle are equal. These two walls are best example of a dihedral angle, and dihedral angles are formed between two intersecting planes. So this one and this one is two intersecting planes which form a dihedral angle, and this one, this plane, and this half plane intersect at one line and will form a dihedral angle. The common edge of the two dihedral angles, which is this one and this one, is perpendicular to the floor. And when a line is perpendicular to a floor, it measures 90 degrees, which form a right angle. And these two right angles are two right dihedral angles based on the definition of right dihedral angles, which states a right dihedral angle is one whose plane angle is a right angle. And these right dihedral angles are equal based on corollary 112 that states all right dihedral angles are equal. Therefore, these two right dihedral angles if placed together. This one are first dihedral angle and this second dihedral angle, if placed together, they will coincide each other. And this will make right dihedral angles equal. Based on definition of equal dihedral angles, which states two dihedral angles are equal when they can be so placed that they coincide.
Theorem number 17. If two planes are mutually perpendicular and if a line is drawn from a point in one perpendicular to their intersection, then this line is perpendicular to the second plane. Let line 1 and line meet line 2 at point O. And through point O, we can draw line 3 which will lie on plane N, and it will be perpendicular to line 2. Then the angle formed by the lines 1 and 3 is the plane angle of the dihedral angles between M and N. Based on definition of plane angle of a dihedral angle, which states that two lines in the respective faces of a dihedral angle and perpendicular to its edge at a common point form a plane angle. Therefore, line 1 is perpendicular to line 2 based on definition of right dihedral angle, which states that a right dihedral angle is one whose plane angle is a right angle. Therefore, line 1 is perpendicular to plane N, and that is by quote era demonstradum, or the theorem has been proved.
Plane A and plane B meets at a straight line based on theorem 1. Two intersecting planes meet in a straight line. And this line lies both on plane A and plane B. The floor is perpendicular to these two planes through these lines. The floor is perpendicular to plane A and plane B, which contains line 1, which is the intersection of these two planes. Therefore, the floor is perpendicular to line 1, which is the intersection of the plane. Based on definition, a line is said to be perpendicular to a plane if it is perpendicular to every line in the plane passing through its foot.